Hi, everybody. My name is Kat from upGrad GSP, and I would like to thank you all for being here for our second annual upGrad Speedy Session. At today's Speedy Session, we do have Findlay University, Trent University, and Concordia University, St. Paul with us here presenting today. And we're going to allow our institutions to present for 10 minutes, and then we're going to leave 10 minutes for questions. And the idea here is to get as many institutions in front of our agent partners as quickly and efficiently as possible. So I would like to invite the University of Findlay, Ohio to be our first presenter today. And for everybody in the audience, thank you for being with us today, even though it's a holiday. Please put your questions in the chat, or after the institution is finished presenting, you are more than welcome to raise your hand and go from there. So please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I am Minol Bista. I'm the International Admissions Counselor here at the University of Findlay. So I will be briefly going over the university itself, the city of Findlay, and a few of our application requirements. So starting with the University of Findlay, we are a private university located in Findlay, Ohio. We were founded in 1882 through a partnership between the Churches of God General Conference and the city of Findlay. It spans over 76 acres with approximately 4,200 students from nearly 40 countries, fostering a diverse and inclusive environment. So when we talk about our programs, we have 85 plus undergraduate majors. We have 11 master's degree and 5 doctoral level programs. We have colleges of arts, business, education, health profession, pharmacy, and sciences. Our student to faculty ratio is 13:1, which ensures that all our students get a personalized attention and mentorship in their classes. So when we talk about City of Findlay itself, we are a very small and safe city with just the population of 40,000 people living in it. Our cost of living is really low, which means 50K annual salary here in Findlay will give you the same economic status as 126K salary in New York City, which ensures that our international students have affordable living, food, and any other expense. We also have a great job market with 15 Fortune 500 companies located here, which includes 7 Japanese to Canadian and 3 German companies itself. Not only that, our downtown has many restaurants, recreational opportunities, historic museums that students can go through and enjoy. So when we talk about our application criteria, just a few things to keep in mind would be we have a $75 non-refundable application fee. We have a $500 deposit, non-refundable deposit, which does get credited back to student account once they get here and register for classes. Even though both our application fee and deposit is non-refundable, the deposit, and the fee will be deferred up to 2 academic years. So if a student can't make it or if their visa gets denied, they can defer their application up to 2 academic years. Our application deadline for spring is November 10th, and our application deadline for fall is June 20th. For our language test score, we do have IELP class. So if a student doesn't have a language test score or doesn't meet the minimum language test score requirement, they can always opt in for intensive English language class, and then they can proceed with their undergrad or grad degrees. Some of the language test scores that we accept are TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, and PTE. We do not accept MOI letters in place of language test scores, and not all programs accept all the test scores that I just mentioned. So always please reach out to counselors to ensure that the students are taking the language test that they are accepted in the programs that they're applying for. So when it comes to undergrad application documents, it's pretty simple. We just need their high school transcript, school leaving certificate, their language test score. If not, they can always apply for IELP, their passport photo, bank statement, and SAT and ACT scores are not required, but they're optional. If the students have taken it, it's always beneficial to upload them. When it comes to graduate application documents, again, very simple: bachelor's degree, mark sheets, degree certificate, diploma, language test score. If not, again, opt in for IELP, passport photo, bank statement. GRE and GMAT are not required for any of our grad degrees. And also bank statement for both undergrad and grad is only required once a student is accepted into the program. So for the final slide, we have tuition and scholarship. For undergraduate tuition, it ranges from 16,000 to 24,000 per year. And on the right-hand side, you can see the scholarship for undergrad is provided based on their GPA, which ranges from 17,000 to 25,000, depending on what GPA the student has. So depending on that, the undergraduate tuition will be 16,000 to 24,000 per year. For grad tuition, it's going to be 9,200 to 15,500 per year. For grad, we have a different kind of scholarship. We have a fixed scholarship of $750 each semester, excluding the summer intake. If students take classes during summer intake, they will not be receiving the scholarship. And the same format of scholarship will be available for IELP students too. But we have a slight different scholarship amount when it comes to undergraduate transfer scholarship based on their GPA compared to our new freshmen for the undergraduate scholarship. So that's just a basic overview of our tuition, of our requirements, and of the university itself. Again, always reach out to me and Belinda with any questions, and I'm going to pass it off to Belinda so she can go over some of our programs and resources.
Okay, thank you very much, Mina. So I'm Belinda, and I'll be taking you through the academic programs that we have available. So we tend to see a lot of international students going in for our master's program. So these are just the most popular ones among what we currently offer. So I'll just skim through what we have here, then you can take your time when you receive the PPT. So we have the Master of Science in Environmental Safety and Health Management, the Health Informatics program, Master of Science in Applied Security and Analytics, Master of Arts in Education, Master of Arts in TESOL and Linguistics, and then the Business Administration. And the most popular one is the Business Analytics concentration. So these are just a few of the programs that we see our students going in for. So I'd like to highlight a few of the resources that we currently have. The first would be the DeLong Writing Center. So this is actually a center where students can be assisted with any form of writing. It could be an assignment, it could be a personal writing thing that has been given, and we can easily assist them with any form of planning, drafting, revising, citing, proofreading, and then editing. We also have the Center of Career and Professional Development that is there to assist students when they are thinking about their career. So they are there to assist with networking, interviewing skills, personal branding, career placement, and then experiential learning. And we see them every semester have job fairs available, so students can go in there, speak to employers, and get to know if there are any opportunities available for them. The next would be the English Language Learner Support Center. So this is actually a center that provides free tutorial services for students in our English programs. So there they are assisted with, learning about the APA formatting, avoiding plagiarism, test-taking strategy, pronunciation clarity, anything that will help with enhancing their English language. That is what this center is there to do. We also have the Cosiano Health Center. It's a free clinic that is available. We know healthcare is expensive here in the US, so we provide this service so students can get those basic healthcare that they need when they do arrive on campus. It's staffed daily with nurses and a physician, and you can always walk in and be assisted. The next resource will be our counseling services. So even though most people don't really take advantage of this, we have counselors, trained professionals that are available to support students with any form of mental health or emotional challenges that they're going through, because they come from a different country. And sometimes you can be homesick, whatever the issue is. These are trained professionals that are available to help students through that journey with them. And they are there to provide immediate help once you walk in. We also have the Beaufort Center. That is a welcoming space for diversity, inclusion, international education, and community diversity. So they are there to keep the students involved in things in the community. So that's where we can merge. So students can get to learn more about the community, and the community can get to learn more about the students. And it's also a great way for them to engage and connect with their peers and get to know activities that are happening, that are currently available on campus. And then the last thing I'd like to talk about will be housing. So this is a major aspect of the international students' journey. So what we do as a school is when students initially arrive, they might not have a place to stay. So we have this welcome house that is available. It's a temporary housing, so they can go in there, stay for the first few days that they're here whilst they're looking for a place to stay. So this gives them the peace of mind to know that when they do come, there's some already there and it's fully furnished. So you just need your personal effects, and then that will be it. When students decide to move on campus, this amount is waived for them, so they don't have to pay. When they do move off campus, that's when they're required to pay the $25 per night. And then we have on-campus houses as well. So students, international students are not required to stay on campus, so they can choose to live off campus. So as a school, what we do is we provide a guide. So landlords get to reach out to us if they have houses and all of that, then we can provide that to our students so that at least they have something to start off with. So these are just a few things to note when your students are looking for off-campus. Mostly it's a 12-month lease. They have separate payment for utilities, and you might need a vehicle when you have to move about. But then on campus, it's mostly close to campus, so you just have to walk, and then that's it for you. And then these are just a few things to note about on-campus houses. So it's conveniently located, it's all fully furnished, and there's 24-hour security. We take security very serious because when students think of moving abroad, one of their major concerns will be how safe the new environment is. So we provide 24-hour security for all our students. We have campus safety around, and they mostly patrol around to ensure that all our students are safe and have a sound mind to study. So these are just a few of the costs for our on-campus houses and our meal plans, just in case the students are thinking about that. And this is the housing process when they do decide to move on campus. So again, just in summary, the University of Findlay, we offer strong academic programs that are hands-on. So we ensure that they are learning everything hands-on so they are prepared for the job market. We also provide a state-of-the-art facility to ensure that students get all the amenities that they need whilst they are studying. And our focus always is on a meaningful life and a productive career. And that is what we always strive to achieve. So thank you for listening. Thank you for joining today. And if you do have questions, we are available to assist you. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Belinda and Manal. That was great. You actually, I know what some of the questions were going to be from the audience, and your presentation certainly covered it, because we always get that question, is the medium of instruction in English accepted?
Yeah.
So with that, I would love to bring it back to the audience. Does anybody have any specific questions for the University of Findlay while they're here?
Yes, Belinda, thank you to both of you for an excellent presentation. We didn't get an overview of the undergrad programs.
Yes, so as Minal mentioned earlier on, we have over 80 undergrad programs, so it's mostly difficult going through each and every one of them.
Okay.
But then whatever student can think of, mostly we might have a program for that. So if there's anything particular you're looking for, we can definitely provide more information about that.
Great.
Okay.
And would the business analytics be STEM designated?
Yes, it is, which is why we mostly see a lot of students going in for that.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Belinda, when it comes to the visa success rate this year, so how is the visa success rate, and especially from like Andhra and Telangana, Hyderabad, how are the things? So regarding Findlay.
I would say we do have a high visa rate, especially among our students, because we have a lot of students from India. India is, I believe, one of the largest population that we do have here. So I believe we have a large number of students here. With the current visa, there's been a recent issue with the visa generally. So that has affected a little bit. But then besides that, I'll say we have a high visa rate for our school.
What are the GPA requirements for masters?
Okay, so for masters, we require a minimum of 3.0, but then as Minal mentioned, each program might have some required, some different requirements. So if there's any specific program that you're looking for, we can give you that specific one. But then it's typically a minimum of 3.0, but it might be different depending on the program.
And are backlogs accepted? Backlogs, what about the backlogs?
We currently do not have backlogs.
Backlogs in the sense, yeah, how many? So there'll be at times, students gives their subjects actually whenever they get less scores, or here in India when they finish their in the graduation, they can write more number of times actually the particular subject or something. I think
Okay.
backlogs are something like writing multiple times because of they can't clear that paper or that subject actually. The backlog criteria, it's mostly there from the Indian students, especially with the engineering students over here. So that's
Okay.
a
So Minal can help with this.
Yeah, I'll take that because I'm the admissions counselor for India, so I'm pretty sure Belinda is not aware with that. So yes,
Oh.
we do not have requirements for backlogs. We do accept backlogs. For us, the main focus is always the GPA. So we never look at the backlogs. We have in-house transcript evaluator. So she will evaluate the transcript and she will look at the GPA and not backlogs.
That's it. There is no backlog criteria.
No.
Okay. And Duolingo is not accepted, I think. Only IELTS and TOEFL, right?
No, we do accept Duolingo, but then we have some specialty programs that will not accept Duolingo. So again, based on the program, reach out to us and we can assist with that.
Thank you, Minal.
Of course.
Okay. Well, if there's no more questions at this time, we're going to move on to our next presenter. So thank you so much to you both for being with us here today. And for everybody in the audience, if you do have more questions, you can send your BDM an email, which will eventually get to these guys so we can have those questions answered as soon as possible for you. And I would love to draw the attention to the University of Trent University, and Dave is here. And just as a reminder to everybody on the call, we have selected schools in both Canada and the US for this specific presentation. All of these schools are kind of in the northeast of the of North America, if you will. And all of these particular schools are in areas that receive snow. So all of your students will have the opportunity to experience both summer and winter in these particular climates. So Dave, take it away.
Catherine, where are you located? Are you in Ontario?
I'm actually in Ottawa, so pretty
okay.
close.
So you got a lot of snow and cold this year. Yeah, it was a difficult year for snow, specifically in Peterborough. We had over the course of about like 48 hours, probably about 2 feet. So this is my home, and shoveling my driveway was I had about 9 feet snowbank. So in Canada, we shovel our driveways and then we throw it, like, it sounds ridiculous to explain, but we throw it about double the size of us. So
Yeah.
about 13 feet in the air. It was an interesting year. It's not usually like this, but Peterborough and I think Ottawa got a lot of snow this year. But it's fun if you like snow activities, and it is quite beautiful too.
I was saying that we received the most snow since the last time we received this amount of snow was 1971. So people were digging out their cars for days, but it's beautiful. Let's keep to the positives.
No, it's true. It's true. And if you are a fan of snow activities or you're not, you can become one pretty quick. Anyways, I'll get going here. So let me just taking a look at the chat. Okay. So my name is David Veneri. I work for Trent University, where we have 2 campuses that I'll tell you about. But my particular role at Trent is the manager of international recruitment and admissions. And so part of my role, or what I do at Trent, is to support our international students, but more specifically work with our international staff. So and agencies and partners abroad. So we're happy to do sessions like this, but we also have staff members that are spread out around the world. I'll just do a quick review of where they are. We have 2 in South America, 1 in West Africa, more specifically in Ghana. We have 1 in East Africa, Nairobi, Kenya, what we call Eurasia, so Istanbul, Turkey. And then we have South Asia, Southeast Asia in Chandigarh in India. We just got back from about a 20-day roadshow with myself, the director of Trent International, and our manager of admissions in India. So we did a big tour, very successful tour for applications. And then we have staff members in Indonesia, staff members in Vietnam, China, end of list. So if you have any follow-up questions after this session, you can obviously always contact me, but you can also reach out to the local representative because they're Trent University staff and they know everything. Canada is an interesting place this time of year for education, or over the last 1 or 2 years. And I think the reason for that is because of a lot of different policy changes by the IRCC, and it having just come back off of a bigger trip, we addressed a lot of the concerns that students and agencies are facing about Canada in particular. But one of the things that I always like to reaffirm for the agencies and all students is that Canada is still a wonderful place to live. We still have a very high quality of life. Still have students who come to Canada to study. still have access to really great education services, great healthcare, great social services, social life, and a very high standard of living. And I always talk about this in the presentations, especially now, because there's a lot of information going around, and as a publicly funded institution, university in Ontario, a lot of the RCC changes didn't necessarily affect us that much. We didn't necessarily change many of our programs. We actually added a few more programs to service the needs of our local communities. And so when we talk about some of the IRCC policy changes and some of the bigger IRCC policy changes, Trent University remains relatively unaffected. So for example, the provincial attestation letter introduction, we have many provincial attestation letters, so we're not rationing those provincial attestation letters. So you can be assured as a agency or somebody who works with students that if you have a student who is interested in coming to Trent, there's a program for them, and they don't have to worry about receiving a provincial attestation letter. Tuition deposit is reasonable, and we can help with certain parts of the study visa, which I can get into later. So I always like to reaffirm that before I get into what Trent University is. And what Trent University is, a very high-ranking institution. So over the previous 13 years, we were the #1 undergraduate university in Ontario. And so how we achieve this ranking is being consistently great at a wide variety of things. So that includes academic research, it includes academic program offerings, it includes student opportunities for jobs on campus, affordability in the community. So like the ability for students to access housing, scholarships and bursaries. So Trent University, we're consistently in the top 3 or 1 or 2 of all of those criteria. And so what that does is it creates like a really, really great environment for students to learn and succeed. And then, of course, contribute to Canada by way of working. So I'll get into that towards the end of this quick little session. I probably won't get into too much admissions information, although I'm happy to answer questions about that. We've had more than 2,000 international students come from around the world. We've had international students for the last 35 years. And so why that's important is because we have faced many, many different challenges, scenarios, and situations that international students have. We know what happens when students arrive to Canada. We know, the challenges they face in getting to campus, setting up a phone plan, setting up a bank account, registering for a SIN number, finding their courses. And so we've designed this really great program for all of our international students that addresses all of these things. So when the student comes to campus, you can rest assured that we're an institution with a big history of supporting international students. So we're not just, ending our services the second they submit the tuition deposit. We're making sure that they're taken care of from the first week of classes all the way to after they graduate. We have different departments that are dedicated to that. Trent International has services. Career Space has services for these students. Academic advising has services for these students. And we're technically what's called like a small to medium institution. So we have about 12,000 students at our campus total, which is a really great size because we're not so big that, students have to fight for access to a lot of the services, but we're also not so small that we're able to offer all of those services. So students, they're very well supported when they come to Trent. And the statistic that we throw around is 97% of students who come to Trent University would make that selection again if presented with the same opportunity to join the school. We're the #1 institution for scholarships and bursaries for international students, specifically in our undergraduate program. Across Ontario, we offer the most amount of scholarships compared to the other institutions, the other universities in particular. So we keep our tuition rates affordable at about $34,000 for an undergraduate tuition. And then on top of that, on average, we scholarship about 11,000 Canadian dollars. So that brings the cost of education down quite a bit for students. And that's an average. So some students receive more and some students receive less. When we were just doing our tour in India, we were issuing scholarships like they were going out of style. So students, for showing up to on-the-spot admissions events, were getting 2,000, 3,000 Canadian dollars on top of whatever scholarship they might be awarded in the future. So The one little caveat for this is that we have postgraduate certificate programs, and those are sometimes called different things at different institutions, but it's essentially sort of like a step below a master's program, but they are PGWP eligible, which means post-graduation work permit eligible. The only thing with those ones, the tuition fee is a lot lower, but they're not, they don't qualify for scholarships and bursaries because they're short programs. They're only 2 years. So all of our scholarships are reserved for both master's programs and undergraduate programs. And then finally, I wanted to introduce the 2 campuses that we have. So we have 2 campuses spread across Ontario. They're located about 50 minutes away from each other. This is the first one that I'll talk about. It's called our Trent University Durham Greater Toronto Area campus. More specifically, it's located in a region called Durham. It's located in a region called Durham and a city called Oshawa. This is all technically considered the Greater Toronto Area. The Greater Toronto Area is everything that Toronto touches. So in India, I think it's called the NCR. It's pretty much everything that Delhi touches. And why we call it that is because we want students to know that they do have access to the bigger city. So they get that big city experience, but they also get the benefits of living outside of the big city, which are affordability, ease of living, and many others. You can see from some of the videos here, the campus is quite modern. So it's the smaller of the 2 sites that we have, Peterborough being the other one, which is very large. And I'll get into that in just a second. But our Durham GTA campus, the real important feature about it is that it's very modern, a little bit smaller. So there's about 2,000 students at this campus. There's 4 buildings in total, and it's close to Toronto. So if students want that experience of being in the big city, or maybe they have friends or family members that live close to the area, because there's a lot of people that live in this area, they always have the opportunity to stay with them too. The last thing they'll say about our Durham GTA campus is the location that it's in is amazing. It's the fastest growing region in all of Canada right now, which positions Trent University in a really great spot because we are able to craft our programs so that we can service the future jobs that are coming to Oshawa in particular. So like many major cities in the world, Toronto is the big one, and then things start to spread out and jobs and housing and opportunities start to spread out, and Oshawa is the next benefactor of that. And so when I get into our postgraduate certificate programs, I'll talk a little bit more about how the students are graduating like right into jobs because there's so many in that area. But right now I'll talk about our Peterborough campus. So that's where I'm located. I moved here about 2 years ago. Sorry, I'm just going to move my laptop. My foot is falling asleep. So our Peterborough campus is located about 90 minutes away from Toronto. It's where I am happy to call home now. I've been here for about 2 years, and I lived in Toronto for about 4. Peterborough is an amazing city to live in. It is very easy to live here. The cost of living is very low. It's very easy to get around. You do have access to Toronto, the big city, if you want it. So if students ever need to go into the city, they want to go and see the CN Tower, go watch a baseball game or go watch a hockey game or something like that, we still have that opportunity. I'll be going into Toronto this afternoon. So it's still very, very accessible. But we also sort of function as our own ecosystem, meaning that we have everything we need here. There's nightlife, there's restaurants, there's coffee shops, there's libraries, there's places to study, places to work, and a lot of really good opportunities. So although we do have access to the big city of Toronto and we're only 50 minutes away from our other campus, we kind of do like love this little pocket here because there's a lot of access to nature and a lot of arts and culture too. The campus itself is very, very big. We have about 1,400 acres of campus in total because we have a full conservation area on campus. The amount of buildings in particular is about, there's probably about 20 or so buildings. I can't see myself now, but my background is of what's called the Ferry-on Bridge. So there's 2 sides of the campus. There's a west bank and an east bank. And the bridge is what connects the two. And there's a river that flows right through called the Otonabee River. So and there it is on the screen there. So it's a beautiful campus. We are expanding it. So we're increasing the amount of colleges that we have on our campus. Colleges are essentially with us another word for like residence or living community or learning community. So we have we are expanding as an organization, and we're expanding as an institution, which is really great for the students. I'll get into maybe some of the services in a little bit. Before I do that, I wanted to talk about the two types of programs that we offer students. I probably won't get into masters too much, but I'm happy to answer questions about master's programs. The reason for that is because we assess them completely different. So our unit doesn't particularly assess for admissions for graduate studies, but we can always consult for graduate studies. What we do focus on is English as a second language programming, undergraduate programming, and postgraduate certificate programming. So what we've done with our undergraduate programs are predominantly, they're all 4-year programs. They're all bachelor's programs or honors bachelor's programs. We've grouped them into different areas of study. The reason that we've done that is because there's over 120 different programs that students can take, all the way from like circumpolar studies to a Bachelor of Business Administration. So there's a really big offering of undergraduate programs that we can take. So when we advise students, we always ask them, what area do they want to study in? Are they a science student? Are they a math student? Are they interested in computer science? Are they interested in education, medical fields? So within each of these areas of study, there's somewhere around 30 to about 20 to 35 different programs that students can take. So for example, I always use the computer science degree. When we go into computer science, we have the 4-year computer science degree. We also have a 4-year computer science with software engineering. We have a 4-year computer science with artificial intelligence. So these are all 4-year degree programs. Generally speaking, the first 2 years are the same because you're just learning computer science very generally. And then in your second year is when you start to take the highly specific courses in artificial intelligence or theoretical computing or software development or software engineering. So that's just computer science as an example. If we go into business as another quick example, there's finance, there's accounting, there's human resource management, there's entrepreneurship. So there's these kind of little subcategories, but what the student needs to identify first is what area do you want to study? When we consult students, it's either, I'm not good at the maths, I want to study the arts. Well, no problem. Let's look at just the arts so that they're not overwhelmed by this like 120 list of programs that can take, which can sometimes be overwhelming. So again, those are all 4-year undergraduate programs. What we call sort of the best sellers, or what we find more mature students are interested in learning, are the postgraduate certificates. We have master's programs. Masters of Management is the big one. We have big data analytics as well as the other big master's programs, but there's limited enrollment for those. So generally speaking, the grade requirements for a master's program is about a 77%, which on a 4.0 scale is maybe like a 3. But the spaces in those programs are limited, which means if you have the minimum average, you actually need to usually do better than that. You need to submit references. You need to submit a statement of intent. So the barrier to entry is quite difficult for the master's programs, but the postgraduate certificates are an incredible alternative for students because they're usually about the same length. So they're always 2 years with a summer break in between so that students can work if they'd like to and earn some money. The best part about these ones is most of them are new. So because of the changes in the IRCC, we've aligned these programs with a labor market outcome, meaning that students will graduate job ready when they complete these programs. And like I mentioned, most of these programs operate at our Durham campus or our Peterborough campus. But if a student takes this program in our Durham campus, we have these career fairs where new employers are coming into the city and scooping up our students instantly because they're the only ones qualified in logistics and supply chain management as new graduates. So these are really, really good programs for students to earn employment and work towards that post-graduation work permit. And that's the big benefit of these postgraduate certificates is that they still do qualify for the post-graduation work permit. So similar to a master's program, where if you take a 1 year or 2 year, you'll get up to a 3-year you may get up to a 3-year post-graduation work permit. It's the same thing with these. So you do 2 years with an 8-month stint. So 8-month summer break, 8-month, and then you're eligible for up to a 3-year post-graduation work permit. On our website, we have all of these listed and all of the benefits and all of the everything, but they're also CIP code aligned. So that's a new thing that kind of all of the institutions in Canada learned pretty quickly. That is very important. CIP code is aligned. So there's a list of like 923 CIP codes, and all of these have at least one or two CIP codes, meaning that there is a labor market need for people in accounting and computer science, logistics and supply chain management, applied artificial intelligence and financial analytics, and digital marketing and health and wellness. The best part about these admissions wise is that they are low barrier, which means all the student needs is a 3 or 4 year undergraduate degree in order to enter into these programs. So we don't necessarily need a GPA requirement. We just need proof of completion for your degree and your transcript, and depending on where you graduate, an ESL, an English language proficiency test. We do accept the medium of instruction. So if the student learned in English, then they typically don't have to submit the ESL or English language proficiency test. But if they do, we accept all of them. Pearson, IELTS, Duolingo, Cambridge, all of them. And all of those are listed on our website, the exact amounts too. We can go over that if anybody has questions. So those are the postgraduate certificates. Most of our international students are in these programs. It's probably about 60% of our international students are in postgraduate certificates, and then about 40% in undergraduate programming, just because they're different types of students. Just do a quick time check. Okay, the last thing that I'll talk about is experiential education and employment. So every single one of our programs at Trent, undergraduate and postgraduate, have some sort of experiential education. So whether it's like a co-op, research opportunity, internship, or a placement, every single one of our programs will have that, which means that the students will have contacts in the community, networking opportunities, and resume boosting opportunities. Like you can say that you've worked at a local community organization. When you graduate, typically students will get hired by those organizations. 93% of our students are employed within 6 months of graduating, and we have these really big career fairs 2.5 times a year. So right at the beginning of the year, we do like a part-time education and career fair where employers come onto campus and recruit students for part-time employment. We do one in January that's a little bit smaller for the January start students. And then we do one at the end of the year when students are looking for jobs after they graduate. So these are really, really good opportunities. It's one of the reasons we have such high employment. And then really students can get jobs anywhere that they would like to or are interested in. We send students to big multinational corporations. But what we like to do is actually send students to smaller community organizations, because there's more opportunity and easier for students to get into, let's say, like a local organization, a local accounting firm, rather than, Apple or Google. But it is possible for students to do that if they're high achieving, if they take advantage of the opportunities that they're given. And yeah, these are just some of the places that our students end up going to. I think that's it. That's probably where I'll stop, because we'll just get back into some campus. But happy to answer questions about admission or tuition fees or any of like the detailed things that students need.
Thank you so
Catherine,
much.
I think, yes, you can hear you now.
Thank you. Just quickly before we move on, does anybody have any questions for Dave right now?
Dave, a quick question. What are the major intakes for the PG certificates in the year?
Okay, so September, fall intake is the biggest one. However, and this is brand new as of like maybe 2 days ago, but we're introducing a January intake again. We didn't have it for a year, but we are introducing it in January. We're just not necessarily publishing that until probably June or so. The application period won't open until July. So fall is the big one. That's what we're making a push for right now. And then the next one would be January, and maybe in the future May, but May is reserved for undergraduate and graduate studies mostly.
Dave, when did
What would
fall
be the-
close?
Fall never closes. Fall never closes. If a student is onshore in particular and they're in a Canadian institution, it's easy. So it doesn't close. Like technically it would close somewhere in July, but if it's an international student, let's say in Nigeria, if they apply in July, we typically just defer their start till January, because they will not come. So it closes, but it's a soft close, specifically if the student's in Canada.
Wonderful.
the application deadline for fall would be?
So for undergraduate programs, it's June 15th, I think, this year.
Okay. And the PG certificate?
Let's say July 15th as a soft close.
Okay, great. Seems quite exciting that it is offering 3 years stay back. Will be quite popular because you're saying there's no GPA requirement for them.
Correct, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Excellent.
Okay, I think in the essence of time, if you guys have any more questions for Dave, you can pop them in the chat and I'll send him his way. And Dave, thank you so much for being with us today. I really always want to scream from the rooftop that Canada is not closed.
Yeah.
We still want lots of international students. It's still a welcoming place. So I'm happy to spotlight Trent University, which is very close to where I live. So Dave, thank you so much for being with us today. And Veronica from Concordia University, St. Paul in Minnesota, which we also consider to be Canada, is also on the call.
Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine, just checking how much time do I have?
You have about 17 minutes.
Okay, got it. Wonderful. Hi, everyone. And Catherine is very much right. We do consider ourselves honorary Canadians here in Minnesota. So we are, you can consider us an additional province of Canada. We're close neighbors. We even have a town near, like 20 miles away from here called Little Canada. That's how much we love Canada and Minnesota. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Concordia University, St. Paul, which is in St. Paul, Minnesota. I absolutely adore this photo that someone took. This is our campus right here, and this is in St. Paul. Downtown St. Paul is behind us, and then this is downtown Minneapolis. Really, really great shot of our campus. We have on-campus and online programs. So for students that are struggling to get their visas, a lot of them can start their programs online and then can convert to come in person at any time they want, or they can just come in person for their whole duration of their program for undergraduate or graduate. We were founded in 1893, and you're going to see some photos of these old buildings from back in 1893 because we've been in the same location ever since 1893. We are located in the Twin Cities, which is a fantastic location. On one side, we got Minneapolis right here, and then over here we have St. Paul. The only thing that separates us is the Mississippi River going right down the middle, which kind of starts really near Canada and goes all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. So super, super big river. They call us the whole area the Twin Cities, and not just like they call us that. The name of our Major League Baseball team is the Minnesota Twins for the Twin Cities. So it's like a really well-known thing that we're called the Twin Cities. We have just under 6,000 total students. So we are a very small, private, nonprofit university in Minnesota. We have just under 2,000 undergraduates, and this the 2024 to 2025 academic year, we have over 800 international students, which is really exciting. A little bit about the makeup of the university here. 31% of our students are first-generation students, meaning they're the first person in their family to go to university. And that's because we have tremendous amounts of undergraduate scholarships we offer, which we'll get to in a moment. We have over 350 student athletes that play for the university teams. And that's important because every student athlete gets an athletic scholarship. It varies depending on the sport that they play, but there's scholarships for all of the athletes. And for students that are really looking for an American university experience, Concordia St. Paul is a great option because 86% of our students are Minnesota residents, like myself. We have over 70 different programs for undergraduate, graduate, and PhD for our students to choose from. We have, since we're a small private university, our student to faculty ratio is 15:1, which I think is fantastic. Professors will know every single one of their students. They can target their teaching style to the way the students learn best. So students really have this great education here on campus. And then the other great thing about this small faculty to student ratio is we're not like these big major universities. You will have a great working relationship with your professors. So at the end of the day, if you're needing a letter of recommendation for a job for your OPT, or if you want to go on to medical school or law school, this is a really great opportunity. You're not going to get lost as one in a crowd of 200 or 300 students. It's a really personalized education here. We have faculty mentorship, tutoring services, academic writing support, professional advising, and internship opportunities for all of our students. And those are all included in the tuition. There's nothing, students don't pay any extra if they're looking for example, the faculty mentorship. A little bit about the Twin Cities here. Super great location. Alliance Field is really close to our campus. So if there are any football or soccer fans out there, this is where the Minnesota team plays. Our soccer team is called the Minnesota Loons. They're such fun games to go to. I go all the time, and it is super close to the campus. If I were good at throwing a baseball, I might be able to hit the stadium from our office, but I am not that good at throwing. I'm really bad at sports. I just really enjoy watching and commenting on how I think they could be better players, but I'm absolutely terrible at sports. But hey, someone else who's better at sports might be able to hit the stadium. That's how close it is. The other really great thing I love about the Twin Cities is in the state of Minnesota, there are 19 Fortune 500 companies that have their headquarters within the state. And of those 19, 17 of those are headquartered in the Twin Cities itself. So that gives students wonderful opportunities for CPT and OPT. Great companies like Best Buy, 3M, Target, the US Bank Corporation, they're all headquartered here in the Twin Cities. I even drive by the 3M headquarters every day on my way to campus. 3M makes like those little strips to like hang things on walls, which I use all the time. I even carry them when I go on recruitment trips and usually lend them out to people where their signs are broken or something. It's really great to represent Minnesota that way. We also have great service learning opportunities and great internships. And in this bottom photo here, you can see it's my absolute favorite internship, and I try to get in on it every year. And every year they tell me no because I'm not a student, which I mean, I guess is fair. But students that are studying anything sports related, so sports management, sports communication, exercise science, you have the opportunity to do an internship with the Minnesota Twins during spring break every year. I applied again this year, and again they said, Veronica, you're not a student. You cannot go to the Minnesota Twins. But I'm going to keep trying. One of these years, they'll let me go. Maybe as like a mentor, I don't know. But I'm going to keep trying. But it's just a really cool internship opportunity for students that are studying anything within the sports. A little bit here about campus life. We have wonderful clubs and organizations. And I just saw a statistic in the news the other day that we had over 500 different events last year on campus done by these clubs and organizations, which are all completely student-led. They do have faculty advisors, but they are very much student-led. For students that don't live on campus and like to commute, we have commuter-specific events as well. We are Division II for the NCAA for students that are interested in playing sports. We even have an esports team for students that want to play esports, and that is a sport, and you still get a scholarship for that one. For students that want to play sports, but they do not want to play for the university team, they want something a little bit more casual and a little more fun, you can create a team with your friends and join what we call intramurals. And actually last year, one of our students from India got together with his friends from India and they made a badminton team, and they won the badminton championships for intramurals, which comes with a little trophy and t-shirts. So it's really fun. We have great study abroad opportunities, and the International Student Services Office will help international students that are interested in that. And we are actually sending a student from South Korea that's here studying from South Korea in St. Paul, which is going to Guatemala over the summer for a study abroad experience. So really excited for opportunities like that for our students. And we have a great visual and performing arts. So if you want to go see a show. These are our residence halls. And like I said, we got these really old buildings from back in 1893, but they're still standing. So, you know, we're keeping them going. They're all maintained really well. They look more modern on the inside, I promise. Just this top one is a really old one. All of our residence halls are available for undergraduate students. It's not required, but we do encourage, especially first year undergraduate students, to live on campus. Unfortunately, due to our location in the Twin Cities, we're not able to offer on-campus living for our graduate students, but we do assist them with finding housing off campus. All of the residence halls have study spaces, dining options, fitness facilities, and space for student organizations. And so they're really great residence halls. And we do offer, like I said, events for commuters, for those that are choosing to live off campus. And like I said, it's not required, it's just really encouraged, especially for first-year undergraduate students. So we're going to get a little bit into the tuition here, but don't worry too much, because then the page after it is all the scholarships. So just throwing that out there. So our undergraduate tuition is the same for all majors. It does not change if you're going to be nursing or computer science or sports science or business. It's all the same for everyone. That's our price point here for our tuition. We are more affordable than all the other Concordia universities out there, even though we're not connected. We're all standalone universities, just throwing that comparison out there. We are more affordable than the private universities across the state of Minnesota, and we're about less than half for the private universities in the Twin Cities itself. The room and board and extra costs are the same for undergraduate and graduate, and our graduate tuition does change depending on the program. That can range from $7,800 up to $16,800. And here are our undergraduate scholarships. So I said at the beginning that we have really great opportunities for undergraduates for their scholarships. Every undergraduate will receive this academic one. It's merit-based right here. It goes from 1,000 up to 11,000 each year. Our minimum entry to GPA for our undergraduates is a 2.0. For all of our graduate programs, it's a 3.0, but for our undergraduates, it is a 2 on the US scale, and we'll do our own conversion. So every undergraduate student is going to receive at least one of these. So not a single student ever is paying this whole amount here. Every undergraduate student is receiving at least one scholarship. And then these are the additional ones, and you can stack them, add them. You're not limited to just one scholarship. So like I said, the athletic one of our front desk employees is from Egypt. She is receiving this $9,000 academic scholarship right here. And from her, I know that the swimming and diving scholarship is also $9,000. So she's receiving $18,000 in scholarships each year, which makes the tuition of $26,000 a lot more affordable if you're getting $18,000 handed to you. But yes, you can add and stack any of these scholarships. You're not limited to 2 or 3. If it's applicable to you and you mark it on your application, you will receive the scholarship. There's also no additional application for them either. Just some quick stats before we get into the application process. This is our employed or in graduate school rate for students that graduate. We do our students have our first year salary right here, and it is 11% more than the national average of people with bachelor's degrees. So that's really exciting, because that's like the whole point of coming to university, is to, have more career opportunities. So don't worry, this is my last slide. This is all of the admission requirements for both undergraduate and graduate. They are the same. We need the CSP application, which is free for all students, domestic and international. We need transcripts. High school students can apply as early as grade 11. We will need to see their final diploma once they do graduate. It's just, a Minnesota requirement for all students. And we do not have a limit on backlogs for our graduate applicants. And our minimum GPA for all of our graduate programs for graduate is a 3.0 on the 4-point scale. We do need a letter from the bank or a bank statement and the certificate of finance, but the certificate of finance is literally just a document where the student puts their name, who's paying the amount, and they sign it. It is the easiest thing ever. And it's on our website too, so it's easily to be downloaded. We need to see proof of English language proficiency. We accept Duolingo, ITEP, IELTS, TOEFL, PTE. They can take the ACT or SAT and use those as English scores, but those are not required. They are test optional. Same for the GRE and the GMAT. You can submit them for English proficiency, but they're not required. They're optional. We also accept medium of instruction. We just need a letter from the university on the university letterhead that states the student's name in the program and that the majority of the program was taught in English, signed by the registrar's office, and you can submit that along with their application. And then we do need to see a picture of their passport, you know, to create the I-20. That stuff's needed. We have 3 big deadlines. We have for our fall intake, which is the biggest, you know, it's the US. That deadline is August 1st. Our spring deadline, which starts in January, that deadline is December 1st. Sorry, I'm covering it up. And we do, only for graduates, we have a summer intake, and that deadline is March 1st. While we are a small private nonprofit university, we don't have that many graduate programs. We have ITM, computer science, and data analytics, and data science. Those 4 are all STEM programs. We also have an MBA and educational leadership program for our graduate application or graduate programs. And we have 1 PhD program for international students. It's a doctoral of physical therapy and kinesiology. We've had 2 international students make it to that one so far because it's really competitive. There are less than 200 programs like that in the US. So that one's really exciting. And yes, that is the end of my presentation. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much, Veronica. Any questions so far? I think, again, one of the most common questions is, do you accept medium of instruction in English? I wanted to confirm that those dates for the deadlines are the year of and not the year before.
Yep, they're the year of. It's always about a month before the term starts.
Okay, so there's still lots of time for fall 2025, given.
Yeah, plenty of time for fall 2025. Summer is still open for ITM, computer science, data analytics, and data science. That deadline is March 1st, so just a few more days. Actually, you know, I've been working with the team. We're probably going to push it to March 17th just because we're feeling a little feisty this year, so why not? But yeah.
Wonderful. And anybody from the audience?
Yes. So my understanding, the twin cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Yes,
Right.
that is correct.
Okay. Okay. And what is the application fees?
No application fee.
No application. Excellent. And you said that the university will do their own conversion of GPA.
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
We did statistics the other day. It's less than 5% of our applicants are required to get a NACES evaluation. And it's less than 5 because us as admission counselors are unable to verify the degree. So most students were able to do it. Over 95% do not need a NACES evaluation.
Amazing.
How are the graduate opportunities in Minnesota?
How do you mean, like work opportunities?
Yes.
Yeah, really great because of those 17 Fortune 500 companies that are headquartered here in the Twin Cities. You have a really great, lots of work opportunities.
Okay. Well, listen, if there are no more questions, I know it's late for everybody in South Asia, and I think we have some people from Africa and Brazil here. So all in all, I would love to thank all of our participants for joining this webinar session, and of course, all of our institutional partners, Veronica, Dave, and the University of Findlay for being with us here today. We really appreciate it, and I'm pretty sure that Guru puts this on YouTube. So for all of the recruitment partners looking to read this or watch this again, you can certainly check out his YouTube channel. And thank you so much, everybody, and have a wonderful evening and day ahead.
Thank you.